morning, everybody.
Oh my god.
I think they may have seen the very end of that because I hit the button before it,
Well, I'm here.
You know what? It was going too well. I was thinking the whole time, this is such a great, start to the show. I nailed every intro. We've been going all the way. There haven't been weird pauses, and it wasn't allowed, you know?
We've been doing the show for the last 9 minutes. And thought you guys were in on some elaborate plot to not acknowledge us.
My auto start on the stream got turned off. I did the same thing we do every single morning, but apparently it hadn't actually gone live.
We were like, maybe they just can't hear us, and so they're all just chatting with each other. And I'm like, Light will tell us if there's no audio or video. And then Light didn't say anything. We were like, wait a minute. Literally,
oh my god.
This is why you don't mornings. Because you go for 8 minutes talking about your coffee and your day. And I don't remember what we talked about. Before we realized no one was here to listen.
We were literally opening Discord, did they come up with some weird thing to just not respond to us before we started this show?
We don't deserve this platform.
Oh god. I really hope this episode actually started with the clip of me going, God damn it, and then switching back over to that.
I can't, do we have that recorded anywhere?
No, yeah, it was recording actually, because I hit the record button, so it's recorded on our computer.
At the end of this video, you should literally just edit in that. Especially our realization of is it recording?
I'll put that up as an unlisted bonus video and just share it on the Discord.
Just the 8 minutes of us thinking chat had betrayed us. An elaborate plot to ignore us this morning. We were about to just stop doing anything and just watch you guys chat. Because we could see it the whole time. We were like, oh, they don't want to listen to us. We'll just listen to them.
Well, good morning, everybody. As I said before, but you didn't hear, it is Tuesday, November 17th. This is Okay, We're Up. Alice and I are up.
Yeah.
We were very awake, but now we got knocked back down a peg, so...
Yeah, I feel like I've exhausted myself. We're drinking coffee.
We got our coffee today. Thank you guys for buying us our coffee. If you would like to buy us future coffee, please go to buyusacoffee.com. I was going to say buy it, give us a coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/OKWe'reUp.
You guys bought us this coffee, but also...
It's delicious,
I want to buy me good coffee, middle of the day... Frappuccino style coffee, Ooh. Dirty chai coffee. So you guys can buy that. Well, you gotta
bring it on the show.
You guys, no I don't.
Yeah, you do. They want to watch us drink to the coffee they buy. That's the reward. We shout out and we go, hey Lashes, thanks for the coffee. Also, unnamed guy who bought us $25
If you want to buy me a middle of the day coffee that you don't see, you can do that too.
Dormonster will not be paying for those.
This isn't Dormonster.
It goes to the Dormonster account. You bought this with code Dormonster money. Where do you think the money goes?
This is my contribution to the channel. This is all I have to offer.
That you drink coffee off stream?
No, the stream. Oh, you guys are making compliments about my hair. Oh, you didn't see me, can you see? I know you can. Purple stripe. Purple stripe? This is, on a scale of 1 to 10 of terrible things that could have happened by me bleaching my own hair, this was a 2 or a 3. I could have also just killed all of it and it could have fallen out of my head. But I look very I look like what is that show? Housewives of Orange County? Tell me I don't look like I have 3 incredibly well-behaved children in a miserable marriage.
When your hair's straight, yeah, definitely. It gives that vibe a little bit more.
Yeah. I like it. What are you laughing at?
We were the viewers are going up. We must be able to see us.
We really fucked up. We fucked it all up.
Girl says, hey, new guy. Who's the new guy? Shout out to the new guy.
Uh-oh, new guy.
So one of the other things we said to you guys that you couldn't hear was...
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that several of you have messaged us.
Wait, this is a new guy. Alden F says, I found the Dormonster channel 3 days ago and I've watched many hours of it and subscribed to all the channels.
Oh, holy crap, thank you.
Well, Alden, I apologize.
Congrats on doing that.
This is barely Dormonster. It's barely functioning. It's hardly a show.
All of those are true.
But it's just Kyle and I waking up Now that's it. On stream. Today we did not successfully do it.
No.
I've even been awake for 2 hours. My brain was still like... Whew.
Anyway, you guys messaged us and said that you really liked the
Choose Your Own Adventure
thing from yesterday. So we were some of you offered to send us more of them. We wanted to encourage you to do that. If you know of any online, or if you want to just write your own, even if you have that kind of time, send them in. We'd love to make that kind of like a recurring segment, because we also had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, send those to us over Discord, or...
I know you've got some Small Splat's working on something that's super cool. I'm very excited. But yeah, if you guys want to write your own adventures, send your own adventures, please do it, because we had a lot of fun, and I think we can make that at least a weekly segment.
Yeah, I think so.
With the things.
I think there's enough source material online to play with.
If you are interested in doing it, it needs to be about somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes from start to finish, with no like pauses or anything. Because we'll pause.
Because we'll make that into 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So originally I had said maybe an hour, but if the playtime is an hour, it won't fit into our hour show.
Right. Phoenix Rising says, write my own Choose Your Adventure. I'm down for that. Yeah, I know a lot of people here actually like to write.
Send in stuff with minimal reading, mostly just choices, so we can fill in the blanks, I think is what it is. If it's too much like novel reading, then it'll take up too much time. Today though, I went and looked through Allison's brain-addled idea list that she came up with one day, and picked out a couple things.
Rip my brain.
We're going to start with a similar game to one we played the other day. This one is called Yeezus or Jesus. It is a quiz game where I will read off quotes to Allison, and she will have to decide whether or not they were spoken by Jesus in the Bible or Kanye West any other time.
If I fail this, you guys can take my Christianity card. I mean, I don't hold on to that,
It's not super tight, it's loose, it's in her back pocket, anyone can really take it. But...
It's mostly just to, play on the internet. They're like, oh, you're a libtard, you don't understand anything, and I'm like, haha, Jesus! And then they aren't impressed.
It works. It works out pretty well.
It actually does work out pretty well. They're suddenly like, oh, you're a Christian? Well, maybe you have valid opinions.
New guy, I really hope you like all of our sketches and stuff, and that you can compartmentalize between those and the people who make them, because we rant a lot on this. I can't guarantee you'll like the things we rant about. I told my mom
this morning that I told everyone on the chat to go steal from Walmart. And she was like, Allison, I am so disappointed in you. And I'm like, I was just making a philosophical point that it should be ethically allowed to steal from unethical businesses. And she was like, you're never gonna change my mind. Stealing is always wrong. And I'm like, oops. Don't watch it, please.
Link to the Discord, by the way. If that isn't in the description of these videos, I will go add it, because I'm pretty sure it is, but maybe it's not. And yeah, the Discord is where there's a channel in the public Dorm Monster Discord for OK We're Up. If you want to submit your stories or anything, you can do it through there. Anyway, I just have two lists of quotes, so I'm just going to randomly pick between the two of them and let you decide.
You know, when I think about it, you really did just apologize for us as people. It's a good take. But that is what happened.
It was just a warning. It wasn't an apology. I don't apologize for the things we do. I'm just letting you know as a new person.
I apologize for the show, for myself. Not really for you. You're fine. I don't think you've ever hurt anybody's feelings. But for me. I don't apologize to just that one person. I apologize to the 50 people. But you're all still here, so.
I do apologize to anybody whose feelings I've hurt. That's definitely never my intention. What?
I was deciding if I was going to make that same apology.
I feel like that is your intention sometimes.
You know what? Okay, so...
Not often, but occasionally.
So before we get into that real fast, so Dorm Monster stays mostly apolitical, for the most part.
Especially on the main channel.
That's not because we're against speaking about politics. More than anything, it's because we're a collection of different people with different politics. The Dorm Monster doesn't inherently want to represent 10 different people's political views, so we don't talk about politics nearly as much as an entity. When
it was just me, I didn't really share my personal opinion. I pretended it was a group even when it was mostly just me.
Yeah.
So we've just maintained that group voice the whole time.
There's tiny bit of politics. However, Kyle and Ian are our main writers, and Ricky. a recent main writer. Ricky's the newest writing addition, but for the most part, Kyle and Ian have been the main writers, and like, people have asked before, like, what do you guys politically believe? And I'm like, if you watch the sketches, it's there. Like, I understand that we have, like, a really diverse audience, and maybe we're easy to interpret on either side of the spectrum, but, like...
I'm sure it comes through sometimes. It's probably easy to ignore.
I cannot believe the comments we got on the Civ video, like, the last Civ video, the Civ meeting, the big meeting one,
yeah.
And people were like, I can't believe this is about climate change.
I'm actually not. Well, but they were insulting the game being the play. Like I think
sure.
I think it's actually not as clear as you're saying.
I don't think that's true.
I think we're pretty well because we've had people. We put opinions in our videos that we don't have, and people will agree with them a lot because what we usually do is we make videos about disagreements. So we'll put characters in them that represent both sides and basically have them argue with each other because it's funny.
Yeah.
But usually, it's actually been a point that I've made multiple times in past videos and past like community comments, which is we actually a lot of times do not hold the opinions presented in our videos.
That's true.
I'm usually talking about like video game stuff when I say that, but like
that's a good point.
A lot of times we are representing things that we don't actually feel. Like one of our most popular videos is the
Patient
Gamer, which is none of those are my opinions.
Yeah.
I don't like. It's just a big weird mixed bag of things most of the time. Sometimes we kind of weird, but like it's for comedy. It's not. We're not really sharing opinions through them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do get. I think if you look deep enough, it's like we do have the entire triggered video where we make fun of all the gun comments, and somehow people so many gun commenters just didn't get it. It wasn't like a political gun statement. It was just like, man, it's really annoying when people correct our use of holding fake guns in our videos. Let's just make an entire video making fun of them.
There is no one easier to trigger than gun people. I mean, absolutely no one.
That was the joke.
I know. I cannot believe how easy that was. Anyway, Jesus or Yeezus?
Jesus or Yeezus? Which one is it?
Probably the most political game we'll have on. Alright, I'm ready.
Alright.
Literally...
I don't know if this will actually be that hard.
I was about to ask God to strike me down if I lost, but I do not wish for that to happen. At all. Alright,
let's see.
Albert says the DM political subtext is pretty opaque in my watching at least. The show, however.
yeah.
Rip. Albert says, "What game is this again?" Some dumb thing I found on the internet.
some dumb thing.
I think I was actually going to add my own quotes into this though. So
okay.
It might be pretty easy just by itself.
It might be pretty easy. We'll see how it might not work at all. So first we have. Keep your nose out to the sky, keep your heart to God, and keep your face to the rising sun.
That's not
Jesus or Jesus?
That's not Jesus. I think I know all of Jesus' quotes.
You probably know all of Jesus' quotes. It's probably not going to work, but we'll see if the chat thinks.
I was going to do it to you.
Squeeze.
Squeeze.
McCree.
Do not ban
This is
him.
not cat time.
It is cat. It's always cat time. It's always cat time.
So, right. So these are Kanye West quotes compared with Jesus quotes, basically.
Okay.
That was in fact Kanye West.
Yeah, no chance was that Jesus. Kanye sounds like a lunatic. Jesus doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to compare, honestly.
But Kanye thinks he sounds like Jesus.
Remember that I am always with you until the end of time.
Oh, wait. That one's vague. That's Yeezus.
You were wrong. That is Jesus.
It is not.
Yeah, it is. That is John 28:20.
Oh no, it's John. To be fair, John is one of my least read chapters. That was question 2.
How about healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do? Who said that?
Jesus.
That was Jesus.
Okay. I don't think he said
that was close.
I don't think he said it exactly like that, but I do think he's said things.
That is a quote. It's from Mark 2:17.
Well, yeah, but there's like 8 different translations of the Bible. They all say the same quote. Very
That's true.
differently.
Some of these it does say
like
it does have abbreviations for which version is it's coming from. That's the what does NLT stand for?
know.
New something?
New, I don't know. An LT?
Yeah.
I don't know. What does that LT mean?
And the last one was from the GW. I'm
This
not sure
does
which
seem
is
to be
which.
like the one quiz that chat is not just like sure about. Autumn says, I should really know these ones. My name does imply that I'm the second coming of Christ. Does it?
What does that mean?
What is, yeah.
I assume it means his actual name. Which I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
How about I am a god?
I am a god.
Yes.
That's Jesus.
It's the A that gives it away there. If it was
New Living Translation, that's right.
Okay.
That's right, living.
It's interesting that one quote is one letter away from either one, right? Like, I am God is Jesus, but I am a God is Kanye West.
That
I refuse to call him Yeezus. I'm putting my foot down right now. It's a stupid name.
Kanye.
I don't know why he calls himself that.
You're
It's
right,
gotta
we should
be
not
like,
condone it.
like that has to be blasphemous, right? Like,
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but like that has to be not
Kanye's
approved
entire
of.
existence is blasphemous. Like, Kanye partnering with Joel Osteen is the most like...
Did that happen?
What?
Did I miss that?
Yes!
Wow.
So Kanye West converted to Christianity like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Like 3 years ago.
Did he name himself Yeezus when he did that, or
No,
before?
that was way before.
Okay.
That's what people were criticizing him over.
Oh, okay.
They were like, hey, you called yourself Jesus before you were Christian. Sacrilegious, you piece of trash. What do you have to say for yourself?
Wait, sorry. If he called himself Jesus after he was Christian, that would be okay.
Jesus. And, no.
But that is just calling it right. He's just switching the letter. Like isn't there a version of Jesus that is just pronounced that way? Depending on what language you read it in?
No, I don't think Yeezus is a version.
Or is it just a horrific amalgamation of
It
like
is.
Jesus and the actual Hebrew translation?
I don't know why he came up with Yeezus. Maybe it was just like yeet us or Yeezus, like ye, like ye.
Yeah.
Yeezus.
Yeah, okay.
But what was I gonna say?
It's like everybody keeps talking about the buzz in chat, and I think it's hard now because now I don't know if they're just making the reference or if there's actual audio problems.
It doesn't matter. They've dug this so like deep that even if there is the buzz, they have to like it.
It's true.
You guys are part of the buzz
You can no
now.
longer complain about audio
You can't.
issues.
It's mostly, is everyone talking about it, or is it Jordan? Who is our most devoted follower to the buzz. Princeps says in Russian, Jesus sounds like Jesus. Anyway, yeah, no, but
yeah, like the Russian
Kanye
accent.
West went like super
Jesus.
Christian and like is a part of Joel Osteen's church now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that. That's interesting. Trust in God and also in me.
Does it date it?
No. Why would it? No. That would give you the answer. What do you mean, does it date it?
Oh, I guess I meant for Kanye's.
Either way, that would give you the answer. If one
You're
had
right.
a date and the other didn't, it tells you that it's Kanye's. If they both have dates, it tells you which one it is.
I didn't think about that. Okay. No, you're right. Okay. What was it again?
It was trust in God and trust also in me.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's Kanye. Only because... Is it Kanye?
What's the reason?
Because I don't think Jesus separates himself from God like that.
That does make sense. It's good thinking. It's wrong. It is Jesus.
Okay, so he does then. Fine.
John 14:1, NLT.
Are they all John?
No.
Okay.
I have been picking those probably because they sound more like they could be Kanye.
I legit I don't know. John 3:16 is the verse, so I didn't read John nearly as much as I read all the other ones.
How about, I'm like a tree, I feed the branches of the people.
Kanye.
That is Kanye, you're correct.
Yeah. I don't think Jesus ever equates himself to things like that. He uses
Sure, yeah.
parables.
It's
but
very
always
subtle
like,
language differences.
He always says, like, a man is a tree.
Right.
He would never talk about himself as such a thing. I'm really curious what Chad is feeling about this. We only ever have like
see.
2 or 3 people answering at a time. Normally it's like just like across the board people answering.
And at this point, it really kind of breaks down. I picked the ones that are the easiest, that are the hardest to get.
Let's
I think.
hear the ridiculous ones.
So just to close it off, how about with great blessings come great responsibility.
Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure that's Spider-Man.
It was Kanye as Spider-Man.
Oh, right, from that one time.
Right. Another great one is, I am so credible and so influential and so relevant that I will change things. Which, I think might actually be a Donald Trump quote that snuck in here.
No, that one's Jesus.
Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and call it there.
All right.
That's about as,
We tried
that was Yeezus or Jesus, everybody.
So my entire list
Play
was,
graphic.
my entire list was for things I was going to do you on, because you don't know shit about Jesus. Or Kanye.
I know Jesus things. I was Christian for 20 years.
Did you ever read the Bible?
Yeah.
Front to back?
No. Did you?
No.
Has any Christian? Very few people have. It shouldn't be a thing people use against each other.
I've made it about halfway through all the books I hate.
Here's the thing, you don't have to
Deuteronomy.
read the entire Bible to understand the context of the Bible.
You can definitely... Uncle Ben. Crap, I forgot. Spider-Man doesn't say it, Uncle Ben says it. You can actually just research the Bible separate from the Bible.
Yeah.
And like learn about what the Bible says in the chapters without having to read every single name in Genesis.
I would say if you were a diehard Christian that defends Christianity, you probably should have read through a lot of the Bible, enough of it to be able to actually like understand what it says and not just what pastors tell you.
You should read as much of the Bible as you want, which isn't always a lot. You should always read the Gospels and then like 5 other ones is my qualification, but you need to read all the literature about the Bible. You need to read all of the literature talking about the Bible. That's the most important stuff. Like the actual, like, the historians that talk about the Bible, the Christians that talk about the Bible, the non-Christians, the theologians. You have to read all of that, or else you don't know what you're reading. You have no idea what you're reading. Boo. Boo on people who don't read about what the Bible is actually telling you. It's very unclear.
It's also very interesting, honestly. Actually studying the theology around the Bible and the history around the Bible is honestly a pretty interesting topic. Elfrelight says, fun fact, I was forced to read through a lot of the Jew Bible. Did not see that word coming. In school, despite not being religious.
That's awful.
Yeah, that sucks.
They shouldn't force anybody to partake in religious things.
Autumn says, oh, so you're a Christian, name every Bible opinion. Yeah, it was always kind of...
Okay, that's funny.
You should understand...
Name every Bible opinion.
You should understand the morals and some basic theology behind a religion if you are living by its rules. I will say that. I think that's the important thing. You don't have to be a scholar to be Christian, but you should be able to explain why it is you're following what you're following at the very least in any situation. In literally any situation. If you're following a certain thing, know why. If you don't know why, rethink things.
The Bible is one of the most convoluted, out of context things I can ever imagine in the world. If you don't read about what it's about and what's happening, you're just gonna guess.
No, that's true, actually, yeah, because I did read the parts of the Bible when I was a kid, and then as an adult, I've revisited, you and I have had conversations about them, and I've been like, hey, wait a minute, that was weird. That didn't make any sense.
Do you know how many different books and articles and different scholar papers I've read over why God sent a bear to go kill a bunch of children?
I actually don't know this story at all.
What?
When did this happen?
Are you kidding?
No.
Because it's one of the go-to oh, you believe in the Bible? Why murder kids then?
I mean, he sent people to go murder kids. That's happened a couple times.
It's true. There's a man who's he's walking out of town or something, or walking into town, and he's bald.
Wait, it's confirmed to be a bear?
A man is walking out of the town. Oh.
In the story, it's a bear?
Yeah, it's a bear.
In the Middle East.
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I think it's a bear. It's a bear, and I believe it is a bear.
Does it say bear, or is it just one of those weird animal descriptions that they kind of guessed at?
It's a bear, and it's a bear in the translations I've read. But as for if it was actually a bear, I don't know. But basically, some guy was being made fun of for being old and bald by a bunch of children, And so God or the man or somebody, disciples, sent a bear to literally come out of the woods and maul the children.
Okay.
For doing such a thing.
All right. It must be like a passed down translation of bear, because I don't. I bet it wasn't like a grizzly.
Alphalite says it wasn't God that sent a bear; it was some prophet. That's right.
Oh, okay.
I have read so much about that.
Just a guy in a big furry suit.
It's still murder. He just killed a bunch of kids. I've read all of the different takes.
Sorry, I'm
on
not
what was
focusing on the part
happening.
you want me to focus on. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay.
Elfrelight says can confirm bear in Hebrew.
I'm pretty sure it's a bear.
That doesn't make sense.
Of all the things
Right?
I've read about, bear is not the thing that's up for debate, Kyle.
Why not?
Because people are worried about the murdered children.
It's not. If it was a bear, it isn't murder. That's just a bear attack.
Syrian brown bears once roamed much of the Middle East, but the subspecies is now almost extinct in the wild.
Okay, thank you. I can rest. I can be at peace.
Dead children.
Bear.
Okay.
Not murder.
All right. Fine. Fine. It's fine. Anyway, I'm
Unless
just
they
saying.
charged the bear, which did happen. I think we covered that story in one of our past episodes, that a bear was tried for property damage at one point or something.
Wasn't that bear? That bear was a god bear.
I think that episode actually it's in the thumbnail. We have like a bear dressed in a judge outfit in the thumbnail.
Yeah, I've read all the different stuff. It's always a bear, but there's translational arguments on whether or not the word that they used to describe children actually meant children and not like young adults. I mean, even still, they were murdered.
Wait, but I thought, like, age-wise, doesn't children at that point mean, like, 3? Because you, like, got sent to war at 8 or something?
Well, no, the word that they used could mean different things in its original writing. It could mean any word, but
it's
something.
kind of a big thing, too. Like, they people go back all the time, and they're like, they don't actually know what this word means. Like, that's why there's, like, multiple different versions
There are
of the
words
Bible,
that are just, like, made up.
Yeah.
Like, just made up words.
Or they've just been kind of lost to time. So
like
it's
slang.
like we have to make our best guess.
They had Hebrew and Greek slang in different translations of the Bible, and so now we're like, we picked our best word, and now we're like, well, that word wasn't really a word, huh? Oops. Ooh, picture.
I think Jordan was trying to link to a picture that might be in our...
This is the bear that attacked the man. No picture, Jordan! Let us down. Rip. Anyway. Bible RPG when.
That almost definitely exists. Can we find that?
Yes.
I want to find that.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. That would be amazing.
No. I feel like I've missed so much of chat's input on this.
Oh, there was one of the things that one of the interesting conversations that we've had multiple times is like, there's so many like reading between the lines of the Bible that's like been enjoyable as an adult also.
Yeah.
We'll bring it, you and I have talked about different stories that we've read before.
Yeah.
And like my usual go-to example of this is like we like the story of Abraham sacrificing his son.
Yes.
And like the Bible says that like it essentially says like God told Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac like the lamb up at the mountaintop or whatever.
Oh, it's a dog. He sent a dog. A sweet puppy. That's the bear. Anyway, go ahead.
And the Bible just says like essentially like so Abraham took his son Isaac to the cliff.
I love how you think about this.
And bound him and was about to sacrifice him, and then God comes in and goes like, no, don't actually do it, right? That's the story. But they just skip over this part where I was like, okay, wait. Abraham just took his son up there and was about to like kill him. Like, you skipped something. There was a struggle. That didn't just happen. Like, Abraham did not just go, yo, Isaac, up to the mountain, let's go. And he was like, okay. Like, that is not how that played out. And they just skip over that entire part. And that's the part I'm interested in.
I agree. That's why you have to read the stuff around it.
Right, yeah.
Stuff that explains, like, what exactly happened here. I've also read almost every single different book, whether it's like a direct study guide or if it's like an interpretation of Genesis. You know, with the talking snake.
Oh, right.
And all that kind of stuff. I've read so many different great books about it. And then I also...
the Genesis thing always gets me, too, because I, like, ever since, it's never been literal, right? Like the amount of people that treat Genesis as literal is insane.
Of all the things in the Bible that feels the most controversial for me to have an opinion on, somehow that's still it.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm, like, not comfortable answering that.
What, I mean, do you think any part of that is literal? That, like, those events happened?
No.
Like, even within the Bible, it feels like a poetic representation of the earth being created.
No, but it's just hard because it's like...
Oh, are you saying it's controversial against other Christians? That you don't think it's literal?
Yeah, I've gotten into long, drawn-out, like, discussions on Genesis that are very unproductive because it ends with them being like, I don't know, and I'm just like, I feel like you should know.
Well, it's the treating it as literal is what fuels, like, creationism also, which is something that I specifically really hate because I was taught that growing up.
Dude, I don't hate creationism. I don't think you should teach it in schools.
I kind of do, because it's just lies. It's just false information. Like, even within the bounds of the religion, it's false information.
Maybe I don't know anything about creationism as taught, because it wasn't taught to me.
It's an entire teaching of science that isn't real. It's treated like science. It's basically
like a false science.
It's basically saying, like, science textbooks and the idea of the world being millions of years old and evolution is wrong because the Bible says these, you know,
things about
poetic things, and we're
yeah.
taking that literally to say that it's only 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
Humans only existed this long. And it's like, no, all of that is incorrect. Nothing about the Bible implies that is a literal thing. And Keith, if you don't question
Keith
things...
was talking about your thing. He says, it also shows how conflicted Abraham was. It doesn't actually skip around any of it if you read it. No, he's not talking about that. He's talking about
I want
fight.
Isaac's reaction. I know Abraham was, like, conflicted in his soul about killing his son, but his son's still a person that's just, like, is definitely not just following his dad to go get killed.
He's just, like, hanging over his shoulder like, well, right. Here I go.
Somebody else, Phoenix Rising said Jesus walked on water by just walking over shallow water and everybody was totally drunk.
Could be. Could be. Old Titan says, does it matter? I think probably about Genesis.
It matters to me because I went to a middle school that taught it, and then I later ended up, by pure coincidence and this weird sort of, like, twist in my life, teaching other kids. I for a brief time taught animation lessons in the town that I grew up in, and I, by coincidence, ended up teaching other kids that went to that school also, and heard them talk about stuff that they learned at that school. So I'm very aware that kids are just, like, lied to for, like, a large portion of their life with using that information. So it bothers me because of that. I have, like, a personal connection specifically to that. I think it's harmful. I think it's, like, you teach kids things that they then have to unlearn. And if they do it, it's great. If they don't, then they just... I don't know. It makes me mad. It makes me mad that there's just people out there teaching people, like, completely false information. Teaching children completely false information.
I think if you do believe in any sort of subset of a different type of science, that the important thing to do is to teach them both. Even if one is entirely untrue.
I 100% disagree with that. You do not teach both types of science. There's one type of science.
Well, okay, yes.
Things are real and things are not.
But
you don't teach other science.
If you teach religion is going to say that these are how things go. It's important to offer both perspectives. Kids aren't stupid. They're going to ask questions, and you just have to answer the questions that they ask.
You should explain it as if it was taught as a perspective that other people have, so that they're aware that is, like, an opinion people hold, but then you explain why it isn't true. That's one thing, but that's not how they teach it. They have specialized textbooks specifically for creationism science that they hand out that look just as official as any other textbook, except they're filled with absolute bullcrap.
Someone else mentioned...
We should buy one and go through it on the show.
Go through one of what?
A creationist textbook. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Oh, Lord, you were asking for it. Someone else said Isaac wasn't told where they were going. You get suspicious at a certain point, right? Like, your dad's walking you up a hill with a giant machete or something.
At some point, he's tying him up,
some rope and a machete, and you're just following, like, is this the sacrifice hill that I've been on a few times?
I'm not arguing with the story. I'm saying it just skips over. Like, a lot of things in the Bible do this where they just kind of skip over little bits, because it's not the important part of the story, but then you read it and it's like, wait. I want to know what happened in this little, in between these two sentences here.
The Bible is the most, like, it is the most interesting, exciting, story-filled, parable-filled book, like, ever. You're allowed to think about the context of things. I get really mad when people are like, you're not thinking about it right, or, like, are mad when you try to fill in the context gaps of the Bible. You have to. Like, it's important that you know, like, the context of, like, when someone says something, you have to be like, fuck did they say that? Why did they say that? I'm gonna go look at why they said that. Or something happens, like, I
Yeah.
don't know, bears killing children, you're like, what is this about? Someone turns into salt. I should look into that. Like, you have
Yeah.
to, like, people who are mad that people are, like, searching further into answers or context. And honestly, the context makes, like, most of it a billion times better. Like, when
Usually,
you're
yeah.
actually thinking about how it played out IRL. This is why I talk about how Jesus is literally the sassiest person to ever exist. No one is sassier or more upfront than Jesus. Like, if you think about how half those conversations go IRL, he looks like a dude dead in the face and is like, really? Gonna fuck with the Son of God today? Is that what's gonna happen? I swear. He didn't say that, but he says essentially that multiple times to multiple people, and I will crack up reading. I think it's a Luke, who the doctor.
Actual Jesus is great. Like, as not a Christian, I still aspire to essentially be like Jesus. Like, every version of the things that I want to be, if I go and look
Oh,
at the
as
Bible,
you,
that's...
not a Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's what Jesus is, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like most of the... he isn't what most... You know, he isn't what my grandmother interprets him as, I guess is kind of what it's going at. It's like the kind of the people that make up a significant portion of Christianity, at least like traditional Christianity here in America, they just kind of forget about the context stuff, and that's kind of the interesting thing to me, is that you don't think about, like, it's usually people are just like, Bible is the word of God, they don't read it, they just kind of believe what it says. But like, it's interesting that like a bunch of it was written so long ago that the people in the New Testament were using that as their Bible, right? Like, it's like the space between each book being written is huge.
Yeah.
And like a half of it is letters, right? Like, a bunch of it isn't like God talking to people, it's just letters that people wrote to each other that were included in this book.
That's true.
And at some point, some council decided which things were going in the book. So like, what stuff did they leave out? That still exists. You can find it.
So Jen is a science teacher.
Oh, are you?
And she has been triggered in the best way possible.
I'm there with you.
Yeah. No, she feels your pain. I think
good.
she probably
I'm
feels
glad.
your pain more than you'll ever feel your own pain. I just think you cannot be mad at people questioning these things or making fun of these things, because it doesn't mean that they inherently disrespect them. It just means that they don't understand all of it yet, and they're attempting to figure it out, and that's why it's funny. Like the Isaac Jacob thing, that doesn't mean they have to hate the whole freaking book. They just, it's worth questioning.
That's not hate. That's what makes it entertaining for me.
Yeah, it's how you read it, honestly. It's all about like, what is going on here? And then as you add context, you're like, wait a minute, this could be a movie all by itself. The sheer, like, when you start to fill in the gaps of how the world functions, you're like, this is insane. You remember when the guy was gonna cut the baby in half as like a parable?
There's a whole John Mulaney bit about this that's great.
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm okay. So not to cater to the spamming, but Kodiak Brown says, Allison, there are millions of religions. If you teach one, you have to teach all of them. I think that's totally fair. I have zero issue doing such a thing. Not even a little bit.
It's like did you ever have the religion?
Well, I think to be fair though, you can at home you can teach pretty much any religion, but if you send your kids to like a Christian school, which I would probably do, they're only gonna learn the one. So you come home and you teach them about science, you teach them about other religions.
Whose joke is it? It was like, I had a religion class. Well, they mostly just taught one religion.
Yes. I don't know, but that was yes.
That's pretty much how it goes. Yeah, they're called religion, but they're just Christianity classes.
Freya says Abraham took Isaac to be sacrificed like how you take a cat to the vet. I think that's different depending on who you are, honestly.
You trick it into a box and then...
and then lug that box up a giant hill full of a human? Maybe he was just like, don't worry, I got some good steaks up here. Well, I don't think he could lie. I think that kind of goes against the whole thing.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't. If it happened, we don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
And I would be fascinated to see how it happened.
Byzantium72 says, it's mentioned that Isaac wondered where the sacrifice was, and Abraham just says, the Lord will provide. That gets sketchier and sketchier. Can you imagine? You're like, hey,
so Isaac was
Dad?
like worried the whole time, or was actually just a complete freaking idiot.
In that case, you probably could have done without him, right? But God knew exactly who he picked.
Right.
You know, if you're just like, God's like, that one, who's gonna need him? No, can you imagine?
Also,
that?
if someone did that today,
where's the sacrifice? And he's like, oh, don't worry, son. You're just like looking at the machete. It goes like, shing. And
another perspective on this. If someone did that same thing today, they would be a crazy cult leader.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone like a man leading their son somewhere, and the son going like, imagine that scene with real people somewhere on a farm now. You were looking at a cult leader and his son. That's what that is.
Yes. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, cults and religions are...
Yeah.
That's how they work.
I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying, in the Bible it's presented as this, like, this moment with God and stuff, but it's because it's from their perspective, but it's like, outside, this is just as crazy as, like, anything else.
Autumn might have listed the most sacrilegious thing in chat. He
What's
said
that?
the whole pillar of salt thing was just a prophecy for how salty people would become once the internet came into being. I don't think he's allowed to say that.
And see, this is the thing, I've always been really curious about, because once I realized that things didn't actually work literally the way they do in the Bible, I've always been really curious to know what was being perceived as the way it was written down. You know, like what does that mean, that she was turned into a pillar of salt? Like, it says that. It says it very directly. I don't think that changes much translation for translation, right? It's like she turns around, she looks at the thing she wasn't supposed to look at, she turns into a pillar of salt. That's the wording.
Yeah.
So what happened? Because that didn't happen, right? Like, that specific thing didn't happen. But what happened that people understood as that and then wrote down in the book?
So Puffle Master says, Jesus made a not so subtle mention about Judas betraying him at the Last Supper. Imagine being someone imagine betraying someone then being called out by that person. So that reminds me of the TikTok.
Jesus?
Yeah. There's a TikTok and it's like, one of you will betray me tonight. And it goes to the first person. It's like, is it me, Jesus? And he's like, no, it's not you. And the second person is like, is it me, Jesus? And he's like, no, not you either. And it gets to the third person, they're like, is it me, Jesus? And he goes, is it me, Jesus? Sorry, it's not funny unless you watch it, but I just had to explain it, the joke that you would not find hilarious. But I just love it. Those TikToks are all, is it me, Jesus? Could you imagine? I mean, again, the context, it's unbelievable. You're all sitting at a table with all of your favorite disciple friends or whatever, and Jesus is like, one of you will betray me, stares at Judas, and Judas is just like...
I do think the Jesus stuff is probably the most interesting because it's the most well documented.
It's so enjoyable.
Like, that stuff is the most believable to me, weirdly. Is because it's more well documented, it's closer, the language is clearer, and because the things it focuses on actually matter, right? Like, the lessons of Jesus still hold up today. He doesn't really say anything that I don't believe in, and nothing that Christianity believes that I don't believe in is something, you know, like, none of the parts I dislike about Christianity tie back into Jesus. It's always stuff from, like, the Old Testament and things that couldn't be relevant anymore. I don't know why anybody treats it like it is.
Phoenix Rising says, sassy, sarcastic Jesus would be amazing. I swear
him.
if you read it, he is that way. Like, literally, some dude's like, hey, you notice that guy is misbehaving? And Jesus, like, whips around and is like, oh, you want to talk shit? Like, he straight up does this to, like, so many... Jesus is so actively against hypocrisy that you can't be a sarcastic asshole. Like, literally, someone is just like, I'm gonna do this, and like, you can feel his stare from like across the room, and he's like, you're like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Jesus is gonna say something to me. He's always criticizing people in the sassiest way. Anyway, why did we do this? Why did we talk about the Bible literally the entire time?
Was it really? I feel dirty now for attributing it. Krill says it was a Robin Williams bit before TikTok.
Oh, the is it me Jesus thing?
Yeah. Damn.
That's amazing.
Man, that also kind of makes me mad. I will remember that from now on.
TikTok is entirely based around stealing other people's content.
I mean, yeah, that's all it is.
Like, if yep. That's it. I haven't watched any of Robin Williams stand up.
I didn't know that was a Robin Williams. Yeah, I don't think I've actually seen Robin Williams stand up either. I've seen him in movies, but I never watched his like stand up stuff. I should give it a shot sometime.
Joshua says the Bible is the only book in existence. Is the only book in existence that is not only 1,000 years old, but was also written over thousands of years. Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting.
I watched a really good documentary on the people who put the book together, like in the chapters they picked. Completely subjective most of the time.
Right.
Just like most things are. But they were just like, this one is good.
Yeah.
Not really. They actually did have an entire like system for picking certain books of the Bible. So many people submitted books like chapters.
I mean, I assume the version that we have now is one that was like made by the Roman Empire, probably, right? Because that's who disseminated the religion throughout the world. So I assume that's who it was, the Romans.
Yes. Oh Lord, there's too many things to remember about the Bible. You have to just like pick
Because,
and choose.
like he said, it covers thousands of years.
You have to pick and choose which Bible fact you want to remember. Like there's so many, because someone can just
that's why this is a degree. It's why you can go to college just for this.
Yeah.
Like Christian theology is just its own whole field of study.
He says, and the fact that everything had to come from somewhere, no matter how far back you go with the creation beginning of existence, means the universe is either eternal, which science doesn't support. Doesn't science support the fact that the universe is just like...
Science doesn't fully know that part. We know that there was a start, but we don't know what was before the start or anything like that. It's a little bit... We know about as much as we know. We know about as much as we have been able to figure out so far, which is severely limited.
Yeah.
But we do know that it's freaking old. So,
Grace says,
that is undisputed at this point.
Grace says, I also really wonder where the 5 breads, 2 fishes comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe they just found more food somewhere, just divided the food into tiny morsels, and everyone was kind of hungry.
That's an interesting one, too, yeah.
I kind of remember reading about that one. I wish I could remember the... There's so many things I had to, like, double check on, because they don't make sense. You have to... You can't just read the Bible. Even worse than not reading the Bible... No, I'm sorry. Even worse than just reading the Bible is not reading the Bible and going off of someone else who read the Bible and thinking that that's the way that you can talk about the Bible to other people, which is like, what my pastor told me that this verse means this. No. 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 Especially if you're going to use those views to influence someone else's way of being or attempt to tell them something about the way they're being.
Yeah.
You cannot use word of mouth from someone else who read it. You have to read it yourself, and then you have to do your own research. And then, as part of your research, you can go to someone else who's read it and ask them their opinions. But ultimately, you have to do all of your own research extensively.
I'll say also as an out. Like if you're a Christian, you don't want to like look into all this. Like, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should be that person. I don't think you should be a Christian. Wait. I didn't finish my thing. I was gonna say in my head also I separate the like practical understanding of events in the Bible with like the teachings of Jesus also. And I think like as far as when it comes to like being Christian, the moral lessons Jesus teaches, I think, are really the only thing that matters. Like that's pretty much the only thing that actually matters. Like if you just throw the rest away and only pay attention to like the gospel according to Jesus Christ, like that's the religion, and that's what should be the religion, because that's the thing that founded the religion, and that's where the that is the basis of understanding that, I guess. So like I also wanted to mention that because like when I go in and like nitpick all these other things about like how the Bible worked, like in my mind it doesn't actually matter, right? Because I'm like super interested in like Jesus's miracles and what maybe those things actually were, because I don't think he was probably actually performing miracles. I wasn't there, but I'm gonna guess it wasn't happening. But to me that doesn't matter, right? Like the fact that he wasn't performing miracles does not lessen the impact of the words he said, I guess is what it is. I was just making that distinction.
People are bringing up some really good points, and that I wanted to address.
Okay.
Tactics Line says the Book of Acts explicitly tells people to read the Bible instead of taking people's words for it. And the Chant says, my wife's childhood church said that you shouldn't read the Bible alone because you will interpret it wrong.
That sounds like something a church would say.
Which I think Grace also said well, which is also, even if everyone read the Bible, everyone would still have entirely different views on it.
Good.
Yes. Correct. That's the right way to do it. And then you all have to talk about how you read different things, because the idea that literally one group of people who are in a position of power are the only people who read it correctly, that's unacceptable. That is an unacceptable form of being able to view religion.
Yeah.
There was no just board of religious people who were the only people that were ever allowed to interpret the Bible.
Well, there was for a very long time.
I
That's
know,
where all the problems came from.
It's wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
It's wrong because we all just took their word for it, and then it got passed down.
I realized somewhat recently, about a year ago maybe, that I finally realized that like I went through the stages of like I don't like Christianity, and I realized no, it's not that I don't like Christianity, maybe it's that I don't like Christians. And I was like, no, it's not that I don't like Christians. I finally realized I don't like the church. I think the church is the root of the problems. It is the organized part of it. It's the fact that you have one person. It's that you have like, it's that a hierarchy exists, right? It's that you have people disseminating the information out and then kind of controlling the how it gets passed around, and the fact that people then seek out specific people that already agree more or less with how you view the Bible, because that's the whole thing, right? Like at least within like American
Yeah.
Christianity, you always have to find a church when you go to a new one. You have to find one that like fits you, which really means find one where everybody already agrees with the things that you think, so that you're comfortable going there every week.
I find that organized Christianity and the sort of there's another word for it. What is it called? Like the most classic interpretation of Christianity taught as a denomination, essentially, is often really lacking the actual gospel parts.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many churches I've been to that are like really going in on who cares, being gay, maybe Paul. It's always Paul. It's always Paul. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't know I walked into the church of Paul. But literally every time I go anywhere, it's just like, Paul said this, and I'm like, who fucking cares? Even Paul's like, don't listen to me.
One of my favorite Paul quote is, I'm paraphrasing, but I believe it's something like, I ain't Jesus, so don't listen to the things I say.
That's close enough. He was basically like, I know you're gonna, don't do it, don't
but people
do
seem
it.
to skip that one and then just do all the other ones.
I hate that people have turned Christianity and or organized religion as a whole and have decided to use it as an oppressive tool to other people. That's what makes me the most upset.
Well,
because that's very anti-Christ. It's very it goes against the movement of what Christ is legitimately trying to do. And so when I go to churches, I often run into the problem of like the thing that they're always teaching is how to oppress someone else. Like what teaching can I go over that explains why the oppression of this type of person is acceptable? And I'll literally never get that.
Well, and I was going to say, I think that actually this is why I have problems with the concept of the church, because I think I think it inevitably turns into that. I think even if you start with pure intentions, it eventually turns into that. If you create a structure, I think it does. I think if you
don't create a hierarchy, that won't exist.
Yes.
And the church is not supposed to have a hierarchy.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, what are you? Okay, say it then.
I'm saying, even with the purest of intentions, the church structure existing leads to what you're talking about.
Okay, the church structure, that's confusing, because when I think of church, I think of Jesus' definition of the church, which is essentially...
I'm saying the current Christian church has not been Jesus' definition of the church since the Bible was written. It's been the Roman Catholic version of the church that got broken apart into subset religions, but everybody more or less treats it the same way, where you have the preacher and you have the congregation, and it's people, like, it's following, like, the disciple kind of pattern, but, like, it inevitably leads to a hierarchy structure, which inevitably leads to abuse. That's pretty much how it goes. Like, actual, like, church should be, at most, gatherings of people on equal footing to, I guess, celebrate the religion together, and that's pretty much it. Like, it should be, to me, the religion should be a much more personal, one-on-one, you and Jesus kind of thing, and you should also be able to share that with people around you, but the church as we know it is a problem. And even if you start your own little tiny church and like, this is going to be a good one, I think it eventually turns bad because the structure itself is problematic.
I disagree in some elements, but I want to go over chat stuff real fast. I think talking about like how different people should interpret the Bible differently, and that would be the conversation that we need to have. Texas Line says, that sounds good until you realize that there's a metric ton of people who strongly disagree on. Oh, I don't know actually what they're talking. They said something later about how basically it can cater. Oh, I think it was Robert actually. When you have people that will interpret it wrong, like televangelists and Bible-based cults.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always going to happen though. Like, no matter what's going on, those are always going to exist because they aren't interpreting the Bible wrong. Like, that's not what they're doing. They're creating a predatory system and using the Bible to
right.
To
their
push
interpretation
it
of the Bible is irrelevant. That's not what they're doing.
That's not what they're doing. They're just scam artists. The same people. They're MLMs. They're big mega corporations basically that are just using religion because it's such a easily way to manipulate people to progress their predatory, cults or whatever.
To make money.
But that has nothing to do with how they interpret the Bible. Like, they're not actually interpreting it. They're just lying.
Yeah, they're just They do not give a crap less about anything the Bible says.
Grace says something about not going to churches that did what I was talking about when I go to churches. Like, she's never had that problem when she went into church. I think churches have also changed a lot. She says, I've been to church with my parents when I was younger and I never had that happen. when I was younger, I didn't know what was going on. I just didn't know what they were freaking talking about.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But the problem is so many parts of the Bible are inherently oppressive that you just sort of have to teach around it at the very least. There's like teaching what the Bible says and what it means and what the context of it is, and then there's like teaching about how, like, what the modern version of something looks like, and I think that can go more negative than teaching about what the context of the actual verses at the time.
Yeah.
Because when you try to like modernize things like Paul's verse on not being gay, it's gonna go bad. It already does go bad.
I think the best version of a church that we know in real life is one in Austin called Mosaic.
Yeah.
Which we've enjoyed. You went to multiple times. You showed me a couple times, and we enjoyed because the structure of it is more like it feels more community based. Like there is a pastor, but there's like multiple people speak, and it's more like a TED Talk kind of situation. It's like they come up and there's like a topic, and it's like, here's the full Bible verse that we're talking about. We're gonna kind of break this down, and we're gonna go over kind of what it means, and that's sort of like the theme of each, session or whatever.
He's just a smart kind of guy. Like we go there because he gives context. He was talking about the Book of Ruth one of the times that I went. He was like, hey, Ruth's an immigrant, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, I never would have put that together. Like, because when you read the book about Ruth, you take away things like being submissive and love for some reason, but legitimately it's a story about immigration. About immigrants, like, specifically.
I actually can't remember anything about that story at all.
It's too long to get into. But Phoenix Rising says being homophobic sounds like too much work, so I agree.
Doesn't it?
I think that's a good place to end on.
Yeah, we can go ahead and end, or we can go for another 4 minutes because we relate. Yeah, we can do our push the button. Let's do it.
Where is it?
I had a thought yet, which is just kind of rewinding a little bit, which was, I think it was a TikTok who brought it up or something, but there's somebody made a funny point about the Noah's Ark story, and how many times Christians have tried to like prove that story definitively happened. And like, I don't know if you've seen, but like they've like found a Noah's Ark like multiple times since I've been alive. Yeah. And also there's all these people who are like, actually there's all these historical books that say there was a flood at that time, like that confirm there was.
Oh yeah.
And somebody was like, the flood happening is not the part that I question. Right? Like, that's not the part I have trouble believing, that there was a flood.
God, someone posted just the stupidest meme. And it was a picture of a monkey holding a semi-automatic rifle, and the caption was something like when you watch when you watch two monkeys already get on board Noah's Ark, just the monkey with a gun, the implication he was just gonna shoot up the ark because he wasn't
That's such a
one
weird...
of the two monkeys, and it was gonna. I don't remember. It was true degenerate crap.
That is such like a.
That's all it reminded me of for whatever reason. Anyway, Phoenix Rising says.
Facebook thing. It sounds like.
I think we also have some people in chat that are Christian, and I appreciate their input.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I wasn't intending this to just be like Christian talk episode, but it was. I thought it was interesting. Hope you guys thought it was interesting also.
I am Christian. I do think that other Christians do not like the type of Christian that I am.
They would prefer you were not Christian.
They would. Isn't that kind of the weird part about it? Yeah. Is they would just prefer me not be Christian instead of just like dealing with the fact that other Christians exist differently from them. They're just like, if you could not, that'd be super cool. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Push the button.
Adam just took credit for wiping out the dinosaurs. Everyone punished on him. Phoenix Rising said, push the button. You can turn water into wine, but you have to drink it to not die of thirst, so you'll probably always be drunk. That is, I believe, everything before the 1800s.
Good point. How did they live?
I think they drank a lot of wine. They weren't drinking water much.
Do people just die of dehydration, like boom, like on the street? People just like pass out, and then they're gone because they're never had water in their life.
Did. I actually don't know how much water people used to drink because I know they couldn't as much because it was contaminated a lot of times, so they had to like drink other things. That's why milk became a thing in Europe. That's why like we drink milk. Yeah. Because that was somehow had less bacteria in it than water. Things that were less likely to kill you are the things that you ate. So yeah, people just drank.
Gray says, what I think might have happened is a local flood and a guy who happened to have a boat lying around and went in there with some of his neighborhood animals and survived the flood. Could be. What if there were only like 2 chickens and someone was like, all the animals on that boat.
Alright, but everyone else in the story died, right? So who's telling the story? Probably one person who
That's the
came
big
in
brain
after the
stuff.
flood was done, and then saw some dude with a broken down boat surrounded by animals.
There's a lot of things to get into about the Bible.
Alright, well, I think we're going to close it out there for now.
Tell the people that you don't disrespect Christians.
I don't disrespect Christians. I don't have any problem with Christians. I have problems with people teaching fake things. I have problems with
Good
people
take.
misleading people.
Good
But
take.
I don't have problems with Christianity as it should be, which is following the word of Jesus Christ, or people who do that. That's pretty much it. Thank you. Yeah.
Do not follow the word of Jesus Christ very well whatsoever. I am so petty. Just the pettiest person.
I mean, you do a lot better than a lot of people who call themselves Christians.
Hot take though, Jesus would not approve of Walmart.
And on that note, we're going to go and call it for today. We'll be back
bye,
tomorrow.
everybody.
You can get us coffee on buymeacoffee.com in the link below, and you can also send us adventure novel things that we talked about earlier in the show over Discord. So do that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.